It's hard to speak your mind these days. Voicing your opinion is tough in a climate where you're either seen as an ultra-conservative or a bleeding heart liberal. But what about our perspective? What about the Gen X perspective?
Hi, I'm Tony, a latchkey kid from the 80s and 90s. Now I'm in my 40s, wearing cargo shorts, collecting Star Wars figures, and reminiscing about the days before my first cell phone. The Gen X perspective is for us, caught somewhere in between boomers and millennials, where we see things a bit differently. I'm tired of staying silent. It's time to rant, discuss, unload, and debate.
Join Tony and his guests as they tackle the topics of pop culture, sports, religion, and yes, even politics. If life's a Rubik's Cube, we've got the experience to tackle it. Welcome to the Gen X Perspective with Tony Randazzo.
Hey, how's everybody going today? So, we're trying something new, a little different here today. We're going to be on YouTube, on our YouTube page. I'm going to be actually doing a video, and you guys can actually now see me, because I'm such a dashing gentleman online, as well as being able to listen to the podcast where you get your podcasts. So, check out the YouTube channel. Jump on over, just type in Tony Randazzo, Gen X Perspective, and you should be able to find me without any trauma, or go to the website, www.genxperspective.com, and you can click through there and find our YouTube page as well. So welcome. It's been a few weeks, over a month since I put anything out there, and I thought that it was a good time to gonna come back and start. And this whole thing about doing a podcast sitting in a room, as you can now see the room, by myself and talking, can get a little daunting. And I felt like it was time to, kick it up a notch. I've been talking to a friend of mine who might be coming on and doing co-hosting with me as well from the West Coast. And we've talked a couple times about it, and I think that would be something, if it works out, would be really cool to be able to do, and would add another kind of level to what I'm trying to do here. So welcome to the Gen X Perspective, Tony Randazzo, and here we go. So again, just like I said, it's been a few weeks since we've put anything out in the podcast world, and I just kind of felt like it was time. I've been dealing with some health issues, Gen X, right? So I'm 47, things are starting to break, not the healthiest person, running around all the time, stressed out, got business going on. And, things are so different right now that I just kind of had to take a break and kind of take care of myself, get myself healthy again. And I'm kind of working through some craziness right now that has to do with that. So I felt like it was kind of time to give this thing a shot, get a recording out there. And not only that, which the podcast I can do easy enough, I've done a couple now, is to do a video as well and see how that works. So with that being said, again, welcome. It's good to see you. Hi, there I am. And it's been really a challenging couple months, and I haven't recorded anything or spent much time really thinking about it. Because I'm trying to kind of get everything together, so to speak. Get my shit together, really. Got all these people that rely on me in our business. And with this whole COVID-19 thing, it's been super stressful. Ended up with, I think, an ulcer. They're trying to figure that out now. Go figure, right? All these people that I'm worried about that work for me in our business, and the family, and my dad and my sister, my wife, God bless her. It's just been really tough on me, and I internalize a lot of that stress, and well, lo and behold, ulcer time. So poor eating habits, not sleeping well, all that good stuff that goes along with the responsibilities of being an adult, blah, blah, blah. Here we are. So working through all this kind of stuff, and trying to move forward here the best I can. So, again, welcome back to the podcast. Sorry I've been off the air for a month or so, but I feel like, things are kind of crazy right now. We got stuff going on, and it's worth talking about and bringing up and trying to figure out. So here we go. So with the topic of health and taking care of yourself, I felt like something just wasn't right. Really tired all the time, and had a bunch of blood tests done, and lo and behold, they think, okay, A, ulcer, and B, anemic, which was kind of weird, but that totally told me, all right, you got to start taking care of yourself, buddy. You're not going to just snap back like we all think we can, especially when we're younger. And here I sit today, spend either most of my time sleeping and exhausted, or wishing that I was able to figure out what was going on here. So the docs are working through their magic and trying to get me healthy here, and here we go, moving forward. So now we're into fall. We've a couple things that have happened since I've been on the air last is the winery. We went through harvest. We got all our grapes in. We're now making wine and have been done processing grapes now for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And so things are kind of starting to shift in the vineyard to getting ready for winter. Most of the leaves now are off the vines. We've had some hard frosts going on, so things are getting cold, to kind of give folks an update that know who I am and know what I do for a living, Coyote Moon Vineyards. And so my winemaker's making wine and doing the winemaking stuff that he does this time of year. So it's about getting all that juice that we just got from all the grapes, and we're making wine now. And with that being said, we're working on a new website that we just launched in our online store, because as all of you know out there in internet world, everybody's buying online and ordering more from home because people aren't getting out as much as they were pre-COVID. So we've been working on some stuff with the business and trying to get ready for winter time and the holidays. And yeah, the holidays, can you believe it? We're 2 weeks from our presidential election. Christmas is literally around the corner. And now we're trying to figure out how to do Thanksgiving and how to function during the holidays that mean so much to people. So it's been crazy, and I've been sick. So on top of all that, I haven't been around. So my dad has been basically out of retirement and running my vineyard guys and our outdoor stuff and getting things ready for winter and getting things done. God bless him, helping out, doing basically my job when I've been unable to be in there as much as I needed to be to get it done. So thank you. A shout out to my father and my sister and my wife for literally picking up the slack, and all of our employees, and making things happen while I've been kind of down for the count. So I really appreciate everything that they're doing as I'm sitting at home trying to get myself squared away. So this whole video thing, like, I've always wanted to do it since I started the podcast. So, okay, let's put it on YouTube. All right, fair enough. Let's put it on the website. Let people look at you. There's always that little thing in the back of your head that who wants to look at me, right? Who wants to, your friends and your people around you all day long look at you, and you don't think much about it. But the idea of taking a video of yourself and putting it online, it took me a little while to kind of get there, and it's a little unnerving. I guess I'm not that much of an egomaniac, or I'm hanging out. I'm talking to you guys. Those of you who already know me, okay, I look familiar. Yeah, I probably should have shaved this morning, and but all in all, it's me, Tony. Hi, and but those of you who don't know me, there's always that fear. People start picking you apart. Look at that guy. Who the hell is he? Look at that stupid shirt, and what's that facial hair? But I could pick myself apart all day long, like we all do to people, especially in the privacy of our own homes. But in an effort to kind of understand how this whole thing works, and kind of committed myself over the last several months to learn how to do all this stuff, because we want to launch a podcast a video podcast for Coyote Moon Vineyards and do some of this stuff, I figured, well, I'll experiment on myself for now and figure out how to do this whole thing. So in an effort to figure things out, make this thing work, make all the mistakes when I don't have 20 or 30,000 Facebook fans like we do at our business, I figured I'd do it on a small scale, work out the bugs, and then we could take this whole program or process over to Coyote Moon Vineyards and start a video podcast there that has everything to do with wine and the wine world, which will be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. I'll let you guys know when we get a little closer to doing that and how that's going to look and work and where it is and blah, blah, blah. Gen X perspective. So I've welcomed you into my home office. As you guys can see, over my shoulder, you can see a couple, mountain bike, and you can see the TV back there and the microphone, and you can see me. This is the guest room. My wife has so lovingly allowed me to kind of take over, as long as when people come to stay, they can still sleep on the futon behind me and watch the TV behind me and be able to stay in here and function. With that being said, she kind of let me decorate / get my collection of geeky stuff out. And with all of that being said, I have done not only one camera, which you guys are seeing here, we have another camera as well. And I got to adjust the microphone in my head a little bit to turn over and look at you over here. Hello. And you can see a little more of the office with this camera. And I'm going to actually pick this up. Hello. And kind of show you around. So my collection. Star Wars. Yep. That's me. Totally geeky. There it is. X-Wing Fighter. And I got some of the new Mandalorian stuff that came out. That's right there. I got my Darth Vader figure case up there, and some more stuff over here. I know this is so weird with this phone showing it around. And I got the Millennium Falcon over there, and some more things on the wall there. And over by the TV, etc., etc. So now I've shown you guys around, and you can see all of that stuff. Let me try to get this camera back where it belongs so we can continue on. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Some more stuff up there. There's the window. Can't see out very well. There's a light. Oh, look at that. A light. Okay, so we're going to spin this back around. Put this back where it belongs. And okay, so with that being said, we won't be doing too much of that and make you guys seasick, so to speak. So welcome to my office and my space, and if you have any questions about anything that you see in here, feel free to send me an email, or if you want to critique or you got some good ideas of other decorating ideas, I'm more than open and willing to take any advice I can, as long as it doesn't affect the room and the ability for people to come and stay, because that was the deal with my wife. Was I could take it over, but I had to keep it a guest room, so when I'm not in here, people can stay. Fair enough. So we've been able to do that. Now, so doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, look at that. Okay, so we switch cameras again, and I'm going to adjust this microphone a little bit here, get this kind of out of my way so I can talk to you here. So stress. I want to kind of touch on this whole thing now that I'm kind of ranting and raving on about what we're doing in here. I've never been one to handle stress very well, and I've been in my professional life, I've had a number of jobs that are, at least the last job that I had, and I was in that industry for 13 years, and it was working with at-risk teenagers in an industry called wilderness therapy at the time. The name has changed, and what they do has changed quite a bit over the years. But short version of how it affected my job is I was responsible for the staff that worked with the kids and the kids, ultimately. And as you can imagine, taking care of and keeping other people's kids safe, you got to kind of take that job seriously. It's not a kind of 9 to 5 punch in and punch out kind of job. It's a 24/7. You're working all the time, and it was a very stressful job, worrying about other people's children. And I did it for 13 years in different capacities, everything from where I didn't have much interaction with kids to working with direct care with kids, out in the woods, hiking with them and living with them, essentially. And it's been, and that was really, really, really stressful. And that took a really big toll on my health for a long time. So back in 2009, when I transitioned and moved back to the East Coast to be a part of the family business, when my wife and I moved back here, so a whole new level of stress. So I had lost my job due to that 2008 restructuring of America, essentially. And the company was downsizing and changing what it was doing, and it was getting out of direct care with teenagers and different stuff, whatever. And eventually I lost, my position was eliminated, lost my job. My wife and I made the decision. We moved back to New York and got involved with the family business, the vineyard, the winery. And as you can imagine, that was pretty stressful. You know, we had a mortgage payment in Oregon and, you know, car payments and money, you know, all the normal stuff that stresses you out. My daughter at the time was still in high school. You know, she was having her own set of, you know, high school kid issues going on as well. So there was a huge amount of stress. And I remember back then is I get psoriasis on my hands primarily. My sister gets it, I have it, and it was so bad at one point that my hands were literally covered. And at night, I would have to I would put ice packs on my hands and tried every cream and gel and whatever on the planet to try to fix my hands that were just destroyed. With some better habits in how I was managing things. And wearing gloves more, my hands cleared up, and I kind of got beyond that after figuring out what was going on. Now, fast forward almost 10 years, the stress has always been there of owning your own business. Now, as time has gone on, my sister, myself, and my wife have taken on more responsibilities in the business as my dad and my stepmom were stepping back and essentially semi-retiring and letting us run the business. Whole new set of stress, right? So it just wasn't the stress that I already carried in the responsibility of the family business, but now it's running the business. So stress has now manifested itself into an ulcer and weight gain and, yeah, getting a little personal, but, you know, it's something we don't always talk about, but yeah, good Lord. And then this whole pandemic on top of it, just throw the icing on the cake just to totally stress you out. So, you know, we're still here. We're making wine. We're doing well. The business is actually doing really good during the pandemic, and we're really happy with that. But it doesn't mean that I wasn't stressed out. You know, I'm worrying about other people's kids and other people's mortgages and rents and our staff and taking care of people. And it's taken quite the toll on me personally because I don't manage it well. So what kind of prompted me to take this to the next level and kind of come back online and start talking about things is a couple days ago, my family, everybody but me, went to a family wedding in Rochester. My cousin Nick was getting married, and everybody went to the wedding. I chose not to because of dealing with this ulcer and being anemic. I didn't want to risk being around people, and the docs kind of suggested that maybe I just kind of take it easy and keep my bubble pretty tight. So I didn't go. Well, that put me in charge of the pets. My dad's dog was at home. He was going to spend the night. So I went over there in the afternoon a couple days ago and let the dog out and let her run around for a while and, you know, let her get some energy out. so she's not locked in the house all freaking night. And so I went out back, and my dad has he lives on the farm, and his house is kind of way back out in the woods, and he's got this really cool fire pit out back. And I thought, well, it's kind of a fall afternoon / evening, and I'll start a fire in the fire pit. Well, tying this back into my old job and working with kids, wilderness therapy, and working out in the woods, fire was really one of our staples, so to speak. We lived and died by that. We had to always have heat and have fire, so our lives were surrounded by being around the fire pit all the time. So, I went out and I built the fire and got it going and was sitting there in this fall afternoon, and it was really interesting to kind of tap back into things that you forget about, that you take for granted. So it's, people talk about nostalgia and remembering, like, okay, Star Wars figures when you were a kid. And for me, talking 15 years ago, going back to a job I had and being around the fire and the smells and the feeling about being in the woods and being outside all started kind of coming back to me and kind of reconnecting me to a feeling of nostalgia for sure, but just kind of regrounding. And it's something that I forgot about, how healthy that is and how much of a difference it actually makes kind of to your well-being. So for for other people, it might be a certain song comes on the radio, or for me, it's going out in the woods and reconnecting kind of with nature and the smells and the feelings, even as granular as the dirt and feeling the sticks in the woods, all started, it was kind of jiving again, and I was starting to kind of feel more grounded and more settled. On the heels of that, my dad, who is involved with the Chopra Center, he's a certified instructor with them, encouraged me to take one of their online classes. Now, my dad and I both know that him, the teacher, me, the student, that's always a little tough, especially when you're trying to learn something new, because your parents are your parents. So Dad said, why don't you take this class online? I think you'll get a lot out of it. It'll kind of bring you back to grounding you and dealing with your stress in a different way. So I took him up on it, and I signed up for the course and started doing some research and listening to some of the Chopra Center's audio stuff and some of their videos. And I actually haven't delved into the class yet. But it brings me back to kind of something that I already did and knew 20 years ago, was, regrounding and reconnecting with yourself and with nature and with everything that's around you, instead of just kind of, tiger by the tail, hold on for dear life kind of stuff. Take control again. Recenter yourself, be able to think clearly and be clear. And so now I'm kind of on this path where I'm trying to rediscover that. Pre-COVID, I started actually taking some yoga classes at River Yoga here locally in Clayton, and the owner, Liz, was really amazing in helping me kind of re-tap into my physical self as well. And I'm going to be taking those classes up again now that some of the COVID restrictions have loosened up in her business, so I can start doing that again and getting back involved. I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and really cut out a lot of that stuff that you're supposed to do to keep yourself healthy, whatever that is. For some people, it's a walk, it's a bike ride, it's going to the movies, it's hanging out with friends. I wasn't doing any of that stuff. I was working all the time. Come home at night, watch TV till you fall asleep, get up and do it again the next day. Being out in the woods, starting to tap into some of this stuff again and think about things differently has caused me to kind of reevaluate how I kind of manage myself and my time. And that's so important nowadays with people. You really gotta, especially with all this COVID stuff and just being out of sorts find whatever that is that you need to keep yourself healthy, and be able to take care of yourself and do it. And I think that is one of the more important things that you can be doing on a regular basis. I mean, it's just, I think, one of those things that we take it for granted all the time. That's just what we do. We get wrapped up in life as it comes at us, and we forget to take care of ourselves. And that's a travesty. And for some people, like myself, that manifests in health issues and not taking care of yourself like you should be. Not the best thing in the world. So I encourage all of you to find whatever that is that you can be doing and take care of yourself, and be mindful of your body and your mind, and carve out time for yourself every day to recenter yourself and keep yourself healthy, so that you can keep doing what you love and keep taking care of your family, or whatever it is for you. But especially with this COVID thing and this election thing and all this stress and all this negative garbage that's going on out there, we got to find what works for each of us. And it's totally different, I believe, for everybody. And I encourage you to do that. And if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. I'd love to talk to you about it and help figure it out with you. It's really been wild to realize I forgot all that stuff, because I spent so much time and so many years kind of teaching it and kind of practice what you're preaching, and stop doing all of it. And now I'm starting to figure out how to do it again. And it's reteaching yourself how to take care of yourself. And that seems so stupid and weird to say it that way, but it's so true. We just take ourselves for granted so often. And those of you who always take care of yourselves and do that and are healthy and grounded and all those good things, God bless you for being able to do it regularly. Again, it's a journey for everybody, and we kind of all figure out different ways of doing it so that we can all get there and make it happen. So thank you for listening to me again in kind of this whole new genre of this whole YouTube thing. I say that, I don't have it up yet, but you know what? This whole thing is tied to it. So we're going to figure that out and hopefully have some new fun, cool things moving forward with the podcast, some video stuff, and keep an eye out for Coyote Moon's coming out with its podcast and its new website and its YouTube channel, et cetera, et cetera. Again, really excited about that and the business. And part of this whole thing and learning how to do all this stuff has also helped me not distract me, but it's got my brain working on learning new things and figuring out how to do all of this. And there's tons of videos online about how to start a podcast and how to do a video podcast and how to be a YouTube vlogger. And I mean, it goes on, and the equipment on and on and on and on and on. I mean, it's just forever. So you can delve into that or any topic, the Chopra Center, meditation, yoga, you name it. You can find it online and teach yourself how to do whatever it is you're trying to do. My dad's really taken up woodworking and turned his garage into a woodworking shop, and has gotten and geeked out on that big time and has gotten really into that. It's always been something that I think he loved to do, and I think it reminds him subconsciously of his father, who was a carpenter by trade, and used to work and tinker in his basement. And the last 20 years of his life, he was the master of birdhouses and would make them all the time. And it's neat to see my dad doing that, not necessarily birdhouses, but getting into woodworking. And I think it kind of centers him. It gives him something to be able to do every day. That's for him. And he does some pretty cool stuff. I'm encouraging him because I need him to make me a coffee table and a couple of cool things that he's starting to work on for me. He's doing a damn good job. He's really getting into it. It's pretty darn neat. I don't think he shares enough photos on Facebook or Instagram touting his abilities yet, but we'll encourage him as we move on. So again, find that thing that will help you and keep you healthy and take care of you. It's super important. And I look forward to seeing you guys really soon. And it's been a great adventure, and we're gonna try to figure out how to make this thing work, and how to end a podcast with YouTube without having to do a ton of editing, because that's the whole thing for me, is make this whole thing easy to do. So I will see you guys soon. Take care of yourselves, and stay healthy out there. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Gen X Perspective with Tony Randazzo, where we see things a bit differently. Let's get social. Find us on Facebook by searching Gen X Perspective, Twitter at Gen X_podcast, and on Instagram at Gen X Perspective. You can also find us online at genxperspective.com and reach out to Tony directly at tony@genxperspective.com too. Maybe you can talk strategy on how to beat Super Mario Bros. 3. Don't forget to subscribe to the Gen X Perspective wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for listening.